Let's take a look at some charts, figures, graphs, and general information about Algorand. So I can't really find too much about it, unfortunately, other than, white paper stuff and just random summaries. So it was an ICO coin. It's a proof of stake coin. It's founded by Silvio Macaulay, MIT person. It's got checks the boxes, right? Okay. Like I don't know enough to really get into the nitty gritty of what makes Algorand so unique compared to other proof of stake coins. In this moment, it's just important that it's a proof of stake coin. Transaction fees are probably lower than ETH. That's really all that matters on the fundamentals, to be quite honest. We can dig into it more and look at capabilities, but it's all the usual buzzword stuff. We can say we're doing all this stuff on any coin, but until people are actually doing stuff on the coin, it's irrelevant. Until people are using link oracles for things, it's irrelevant. Until people are putting stable coins on Algorand, it's irrelevant that we can do so, right? Until people are using it and have a use case, and building empty cathedrals is one thing, having people in mass every Sunday, is another thing. So they can do all the things, right? Any chain can do all the things. That's all that matters at this point. Because if you can't do all the things or say that you can do all the things, then you're just selling yourself short as a blockchain, really. So you're going to see the same buzzwords on everything, and everybody can do NFTs now, DeFi, dApps. Everybody can do everything, stable coins. If we look under the hood here on the ALGO Explorer, one of the websites I was able to find some information on, total supply is 10 billion coins. About half of that is in circulating. About half of that is being staked right now. If we look at the top addresses, it would be good to go through this and say how much is held by certain accounts, 300 million, 200 million, and try to figure out who these are. Are these exchanges? Is one of these Binance? I'm sure one of these is Binance. I'm sure most of these are exchanges. I'm sure a lot of these 55,000 wallets are probably Coinbase. They like to separate their custody out in the same wallets. Kraken does this the same. So it's good just to see who has what, where, and why. Another thing to look at is which exchanges offer Algorand staking, and how does that measure up to these wallet addresses. I did none of that, but if that was important to you, that'd be something I would look at. Talking about assets on Algorand, Tether pops up here. USDC is here somewhere as well, right here. So really, those are the big two. I mean, everything else here is cool and fun and great. It looks like they have commodities or something on here as well. Really, though, it's kind of like, who cares? Big deal. Until this takes off in mass, it's proof of concept, regardless of what people say. It's cool that we're doing this stuff, micro whatever, shares of whatever, cool, great. Not that big of a deal, honestly. Algorand transaction history over the past year looks like it's spiked to 26 million this is by month, so a little less than 1 million transactions per month at the peak, and rising in an uptrend as well. So transactions are rising from what I'm able to gather here, well above probably 10x what they were earlier in 2020. And this has a lot to do with token price, being in the DeFi conversation, being in the dApps conversation, all that sort of thing. Tradable supply increasing as well. Now, it's called Algorand, so I assume there's some sort of algorithmic something going on here. Worth looking into, should that interest you, but let's be honest, most people right now, they don't care, right? And Google Trends sets you free because it shows exactly what you need to know. How many people are looking up Algorand right now? How many people are looking into Algorand information? Now, does it make me a bad analyst not knowing the ins and outs of Algorand? Probably, but right now, we're in a world where we're in a bull market. If you're listed, if you have a heartbeat, if you are a warm body, and you have staking capabilities, which I believe Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance has that for Algorand, then you're going to be in the conversation. So lots of people looking up Algorand. No fewer than 5 people over the past few weeks have asked me directly about Algorand. So it appears as though there's just a lot of general grassroots interest around the project. Let's get to technicals. The real reason we're all here: 5200 EMA, yearly pivots, VPVR, volume RSI. So the ALGO USD pair had been in a really multi-year, multi-month consolidation, reminiscent of an inverted head and shoulders, a big macro inverted head and shoulders. I've been talking about that on the weekly DeFi videos I do. Check those out. If DeFi is interesting to you, not only did we have a macro inverted head and shoulders, but we had a mini inverted head and shoulders here on the right shoulder, which broke up, led to a 5200 bull cross. And in January, along with everything else DeFi, we really went for a run here. So that's sold off now since then, but these are the things you're looking for, other than just this video today, leading up to this. Multiple inverted head and shoulders fractals, multiple consolidations in the same area. With a bullish bias, there's an expectation we go higher. So what am I looking for now? I'm looking for consolidation around $1. Anything that's at or near $1 will seek out the dollar level like a magnet. It'll want to go above or below that. But most people are looking at that level. Most people are looking at 50 cents. Most people are looking at $2, $1.50. It's no surprise that we attempted 2, which was the R5 yearly pivot, didn't quite reach that level. So really, I like a rebuy all the way as low as 50 cents, between 50 and 75 cents, where the R1 is here, where the 200-day moving average is, where this VPVR level starts to kick in. Plenty of support below 75 cents. From here to 75 cents, not much. So I do like quite a bit of a sell-off from here as far as a rebuy. I would also like to see a bullish divergence of some sort on the 12-hour, the 8-hour, the daily, a lower low in price, a higher low in RSI. If we can get it on the daily, that's a massive signal that there's waning bearish momentum. So it's gonna take a while. In general, alts do really well Q2, so I'd watch this throughout March, watch this just wither, sell off, everybody hate it, that sort of thing. And then I'd look at to buy basically near this local high, somewhere between 50 and 75 cents is what I'd be looking for. On the cloud, you had a bullish Kumo breakout in January along with satisfactory conditions of a breakout of the macro inverted head and shoulders. You typically will see those things working hand in hand. You'll see, here was a mini head and shoulders that broke down. Here was another head and shoulders that broke down. Here was an inverted head and shoulders that broke up. And most of this reversal stuff tends to match the cloud entries and exits. So right now it's kind of a no man's land. It's below the Kijun. It's got tons of daylight between here and the cloud level. So for me, this is just done. I would avoid it. Trend-wise, I would just look to accumulate between 50 and 75 cents, somewhere in there, over the next month. But trend-wise, I wouldn't trust this. It would have to reset entirely on the daily, which it's actually never done. It's never had a bullish TK recross above the cloud, which is what you'd be looking for. So this needs at least a week, if not 4 weeks, to really understand trend-wise what's going on here, which is why I just like buying the lows. And if you're really wanting to play low time frames on this, I'd look at the 4-hour, wait for that bullish TK across recross. Plenty of examples here in early January and late January, and Cloud told you to get out on the 4-hour a few days ago, which was an excellent close based on where this has gone since then. So anything above $1.35, $1.25, somewhere in there is a bullish cloud entry based on where the cloud sits now. But like I said, based on the daily, I wouldn't want to buy this until it's much lower. And looking at the ALGO BTC chart, the big level looks like it's 4,000 sats. Just eyeballing it based on these rejections here. You had a nice tight little range that broke down. Another head and shoulders here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Ugly, but it's there. Another ugly one here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Nothing, one way or the other here. Seeing this Eiffel Tower stuff is never a good sign if you're bullish. The 50 and the 200 wasn't crossed bullish yet, which is always a good barometer for how bullish should I be if the trend hasn't even caught up with this yet, right? Like, yeah, it just went insane over a couple day period. But until the 50 and the 200 are on board on the daily, if you have the data for it, I would trust that entirely. So I like a bullish trend move once we get through 2,500 to 3,000 sats, because there's a VPVR point of control there. There's a yearly pivot there. The 50 and the 200 hasn't crossed the bullish yet. All that's going to take some time. And now you're going to deal with this local high as well. So there's lots of little nitpicky resistance type stuff. It's back in the previous consolidation. This isn't like massive aggro turbo bull stuff, but it's worth watching over the next month. So Algorand, proof of stake coin. It is starting to compete with other proof of stake coins. It's got a lot of circulating supply. Half of that's staking. Transactions are increasing. Google Trends increasing. It's available on a lot of exchanges, which is actually another important thing that not too many people discuss. But in order to be bullish on something, people have to buy it, and people can't buy it if it's not listed on Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, Bittrex, wherever. This is pretty much listed everywhere as far as I can tell. TA-wise, for me, it's not a rebuy until 50 to 75 cents, and the BTC pair looks like it's withering into nothingness, and needs a little bit more time. So I'd revisit all this stuff in a month, or watch it over the next month to see if anything flips blatantly bullish.